If I had told you going into the weekend that Joel Embiid wouldn't only play in Game 1, but he would have the most points scored in a playoff game since Iverson did it a couple decades ago, would you think you would have won Game 1 against the Atlanta Hawks?
One would assume.
One would assume. What if I told you that you'd give up 74 points the first half?
I would say we're losing.
I mean, like, they were sleeping on defense. And if you're going to be sleeping on Trae Young, you're going to be rocked in the cradle.
And that's what happened.
How good is he?
Dude's becoming a superstar right before everyone's playoff eyes.
He sure is. And the rest of the team is pretty damn stout around him. They can make some shots. He wasn't the only one putting the ball in the bucket in Philadelphia in the first half. And so the Hawks are now officially higher register. All the Hawks have to do is just hold serve in Atlanta. And then they'll take on the winner of the Nets and the Bucks, and
you're ahead of yourself.
And that's good, dude. I mean, that's what way back in the day before we had something called a pandemic. Something like this would have been off the charts, huge, because with full arenas and things of that nature, it would be a different, gym that you'd have to go into and win. But it's not like there was nobody in the arena yesterday, and it's not like Philadelphia is still a tough place to win. But with Bogdanovich doing what he's doing, we have John Collins' numbers up on the screen right there. I mean, Embiid with 39. And
he played great, too.
He did. So I guess that's the silver lining, is that Embiid is not out for the playoffs, and that Embiid can come in and not be 100% and still do Joel Embiid type stuff. But let's play a little defense.
Well, did you watch the end of the game? I mean,
no, I don't. By the way, that was really
that was incredible.
That was incredible that they had a shot to,
You take away that 8-minute stretch in the first quarter, like.
Wow. No, I'm just talking about the last 60 seconds of that game.
The last 5 minutes.
Why weren't they pressing and trapping though when they were down by 25?
I don't know.
You just want to get on Doc Rivers, is what you want.
This guy was calling for Doc to get fired at halftime.
On text, but not on our show.
Not on the show. I mean, it was a little like tongue in cheek, but it was really embarrassing.
Well, you can't give up 74 points in a playoff game in your home court. Game 1.
If you're Atlanta, are you feeling the way that game went? Are you feeling great about your chances?
Damn straight you
are.
Really?
Absolutely.
Because
what do you mean you stole home court advantage?
You
from
stole
the one
home
seed?
court advantage, true. But like I said, are the Hawks going to hit 23s every game? If so, sure, we're going to lose this series. I don't think that they are. Are we going to give up 74 points? That's probably never going to happen again. And you watch the way the game ended, I feel like that's more of how the series is going to play out.
Now,
that's totally fair.
It is. It is.
Totally
and I just don't know if TJ's speaking French when he says we, because he's going to start saying more French because he also says that word for the Clippers, who did not clip yesterday when it was apparent from jump, as in jump ball, from jump, as in step back, as in jump off of one leg, that A+ Luka had shown up in Los Angeles for Game 7 yesterday.
Dude,
A+ Luka. I thought he was going to go for 60 at one point. And all you have to do is just do the math when you have 29 by half, 19 by the end of the first quarter. Everything he was shooting was going in. And he was the only one shooting for a while. But the Toronto Raptors Kawhi, that guy that showed up getting his bag from Steve Ballmer and calling up Paul George and saying, let's go, and the Clippers going all in on the plan. That Kawhi Leonard showed up in games 6 and 7 in the same way that he and the rest of the team did not in the bubble. But as Tyronn Lue said after yesterday's game, and I can't quote him directly about the bubble, that poop's over. And now, how will it feel as a Clipper fan? How will it feel to this team to have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and figurative house money? They move on. Now, look, they've been in the second round before. We all know it's that third round has been the difficult step for them to take. They've never taken it. But this is house money. They got through it. The whole business of did they tank the last weekend of the season just to get into this position, to get into a 7-game Donnybrook, and then now take on a 1-seeded Jazz team that as soon as Donovan Mitchell came back, took care of Memphis. Here we go, man. House money for the Los Angeles Clippers. It is going to be a great series. And, you could sit here and say, well, the Clippers have Kawhi and Paul George, and they should win, but they're the 4 seed. They didn't get that 1 seed. Mm-hmm. They didn't win all those games that the Jazz did this year. They didn't collapse either, the Clippers. They did not collapse. When you thought they were gonna, when you lose Game 5 at home, they go to Dallas and become the 6th consecutive road team to win in the series, and in Game 7, they snapped that whole streak.
I mean, some of these Kawhi stats from this series, dude was out of his mind.
He was.
200 points on 60% shooting. Everyone talks about the 50-40-90. He went 60-40-90 in this series.
That's insane.
Out of control.
That's the guy that they hired from Toronto.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
And then Luka is, now,
Well, now it's going to start, man.
It's like,
Dallas.
he and Lillard, is he the Lillard of Dallas? He
needs a running mate because it ain't Porzingis.
Isn't that amazing?
No.
That's the general sense of things. That Tim Hardaway, by the way, was part of that trade too. That he's the more valuable piece.
The forgotten part of the trade is, they said yesterday.
Sure.
It's Hardaway.
How good is Luka? I just love what's in his bag.
Yeah, he's super
Everything's
special.
in his bag. And then
I wanted to boo him, but I can't boo him because I love basketball so
he's
much.
so good.
And it's just like, man, this guy is so good.
22 years old.
He's so good.
I mean,
He's a problem.
we're talking about could be top 10 all time when it's all said and done.
I would agree. Because not only does he have the different arsenals of different shots, he's big too. He's physical.
Yeah.
He can drive the paint and be a problem as much as him as soon as he crosses half court.
Right. As much as step back
Takes whatever
30
shot he
footers.
wants to do and takes step back threes so you can't guard him. Or the one leg stuff is just so fun to watch.
And it's great that he plays for Dallas, and that was Dirk's signature move. It's awesome.
It's fun. And then he has fun too when he got down he was on the floor and the camera was right behind his shoulder. I know that you posted it on our show account at Rich Eisen Show, like 2 big thumbs up. Hey,
I laughed out loud when that
that was kind of like a Borat maneuver. Like, hey, I like basketball. You like it?
because when he fell,
I like
you could
torturing
see
the Clippers. You like it?
Make shots.
my wife. When he fell, you could see it and get up. I'm like, is he hurt? And then the camera cut to him. And he was just like waiting.
Yeah,
he was just waiting.
Two
for
thumbs
his
up.
phone.
Hey. It is fun.
But yeah, man, the Clips. That was a huge win. Bench played well. Great series. It was a really good
By the
series.
way, can I start the Dame Lillard to Dallas? Can we start that?
Dame has already said though he doesn't want to leave.
Hey, well, he's not going to get the coach he wants, so let's get him out of there and let's get him with Luka. How great would that be?
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
Not in a million years. It's not going to happen.
Just saying.
But that's now going to be the question: is how do the Mavericks build around Luka? What are you going to do? Isn't that amazing? They're 1 game away from like Luka, and this team is just going to be so tough to knock out. Look out, Utah. To how are they going to build around him? Game 7s, man. They're legacy building. They're also franchise breaking. And it's a long offseason when you lose one of those.
Yep.
And then you got the Nets. What's more difficult to grasp from this weekend? That Embiid scored as many points as he did, most since Iverson. What was it? 03 was it or 90? What was the 03? Right?
03, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's more difficult to grasp? That Embiid did that and lost, or that the Nets lost Harden within the first minute of the game and still just beat the Bucks with an arm tied behind their back? Oh man, the rest of the league's got to look at that and say, okay, so you lose one of the big 3, and you still. I mean, the 8-point margin of victory, I don't think really does justice to just how that game wasn't even.
It never felt like it was that close.
Giannis, let him go 34 for 11, but
it doesn't help when the Bucks shoot 17% from 3 and
nope. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.